Welcome to a Northern Business Leaders special in association with the professional services firm Deloitte. Last year in 2019, we talked to lots of Northern business leaders from different sectors. One was a director of Black Sheep Brewery, which is a well-known family-owned and community-owned firm based in North Yorkshire with a big brand, a very loyal following for its special beer and craft ales. Charlene Lyons is the chief executive. Charlene, tell me, how did you start planning for your new type of service once the emergency fully started to bite?
Okay, so we were actually fairly well prepared. We currently sell beer across three main sectors: on trade, so it's kind of direct delivered and multiple pub groups; off trade through supermarkets; and export. And we quickly understood that with COVID-19, we were going to have to maximise operations in off-trade and minimise, obviously, operations in on-trade, which is exactly what we did. We also looked for new opportunities, which we were really pleased to have uncovered. So we boosted our mail order, and we looked at other ways of innovatively getting our beer to our customers. And that's basically all we did.
You've had a good reaction from customers. I noticed that within a large radius of 15, 20 miles or so of your brewery, you've had a lot of uptake on having home deliveries.
Absolutely. I mean, we were, to be honest with you, slightly shocked at just how popular it was. So it's split into three, really. We've got our mail order, which was always there, but it's just on heat, really. It's completely boosted. So we've got our core mail order service. We've also got our visitor centre service, which is basically our visitor centre in Massam, and we deliver food and upsell beer because people want both. And we've also got home delivery, so within a significant radius to Massam. So we do deliveries on set days to people's houses. And we also do trade deliveries, so the local farm shops and other people that are selling beer off licenses and anyone that wants it, really. So we've got kind of a four-pronged approach, which has proved really, really, really profitable and really, really, really well received in the industry.
The business has a fantastic Yorkshire brand, and Yorkshire is at the heart of what you do. So I suppose by going back to core area in this emergency, it was the logical way to preserve the business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people love Black Sheep. Black Sheep beer is incredibly popular. So we've been really, really, really pleased with the amount of response, the positive response we've had from all of our very, very, very loyal customers and shareholders who are just desperate to get our beer in whatever way they can.
Looking to the future, there have been some pretty difficult headlines for people who might be in your trade. The front page of The Sun on the 20th of April announced that it's possible pubs will not be open until Christmas. Now, that might be an extreme position, that might be a very significant speculation. So in planning for resilience in the long term, what kind of things have you got in mind?
Okay, so I do feel like as an organisation, we have been able to be incredibly resilient and introduce some really great, efficient measures. I think that in terms of going forward, it's a really interesting time because a lot of the issues that we're going to face are going to be out of our control. So whether or not pubs can or can't reopen, whether or not landlords can or cannot afford to run as they did before, what the larger brewers decide to do and how they try and take over the world, the supply chain. I think there's all sorts of different factors that are kind of coming into play. But as an organisation, we're doing absolutely everything we can. So we're looking at opportunities all the time. And what we're doing more than anything is looking for those silver linings. And there are many. And I think that organisations on the whole should be doing more of that. So, if you look at it without my Black Sheep hat on, some of the silver linings that I've identified on a personal level of the fact that, grandparents have learned to use Zoom or Skype and can communicate in ways I never thought they would be able to do before. We've also, as a business, learned how to operate remotely at probably greater efficiency than we did before, less travel, more talking, different ways of communication. We've also got much more flexibility with our workforce and much better management, allowing the teams to be able to operate in a way that suits them. And I think that's a really important silver lining for our future, because there's lots of people that that will need perhaps in industry to work differently depending on what this ends up looking like. And I think, just the fact that we've been able to be nimble enough to change and adjust with our on and off trade provisions, and we'll do more of that, and we've got the opportunity to think more laterally and do more of that.
And you're going to have a database of a lot of users who are dedicated to your brand, which is interesting enough for other companies that might be interested in that. Now, can I just direct you to the government? I know that, like many companies, you'll have looked at the furlough scheme and probably furloughed some workers, but there's a lot of tax paid on beer. And some sectors, for instance, the tech sector, was given a special deal by the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, over £1 billion put into grants and loans for high growth tech companies. Do you think that the brewing industry, the trade generally, could get a different kind of deal from the government in the long term?
I think that would be brilliant, and that's definitely what the likes of SEBA and the BBPA are working towards. And I know that our chairman, Andy Slee, is working with them, trying to and certainly people within the government to try and understand whether or not that's possible. I think that the furlough scheme's been great on one level, because actually it's enabled businesses like ours to furlough staff, and they're protected at 80% or £2,500 worth of money per month. But actually what that also does, it completely cuts off business development, and actually, other than people who are self-motivated, which we're encouraging all of our staff to be, learn new skills, do new things, they're not really doing very much with their time, and actually they've got a real opportunity to do stuff that's worthwhile for the business while still being furloughed. And the guidelines and the restrictions are so severe that you simply can't do anything. So my concern is post furlough, what happens when suddenly we reopen our doors and people are expected to come back in to a business that was one thing and now is completely something different. It's going to be a real challenge. And I think that fundamentally, around the industry and the government, will the industry rebound, or will it sustain lasting damage? I don't know the answer to that question. And will we be able as a business to regain our pre-COVID stance? I hope so, but again, the landscape will look completely different. So we at Black Sheep are going to use it as an opportunity, and I hope other businesses do too.
Well, you've got a lot of assets, a loyal customer base, some great staff, and a great taste. Thank you very much, Charlene.